Hi, this is Ed from the dailyrabbithole.com and the Outer Light channel on YouTube. Back again for January the 1st here with a whole bunch of news and all kinds of different things. Of course, it's New Year's. Welcome to 2018. According to the science fiction novels, we should all have robots and hovercars by now, but unfortunately, humanity never made it. We didn't quite make it to our high achievements there. Nonetheless, I've got a whole bunch of news here and a cryptic tweet from Julian Assange, as well as an interesting cable, also reported by WikiLeaks, an epic Donald Trump tweet also about Pakistan, probably one of the most epic I've ever read. Pope talks immigration, once again showing what a massive hypocrite he is. Also, bank accounts frozen over Bitcoin in Australia. What does that mean? Also, a strange Google Earth photo of a rather weird aircraft sitting there. Also, John Lear. If you follow ufology, you probably all are familiar with John Lear. He's a famous pilot. He's logged like 10,000 hours of flight time. I can't remember the exact amount, but it's literally thousands. Knows all about aircrafts. His name is from the Lear Jet Company. Obviously comes from that dynasty. Well, John Lear, the famous pilot's come forward and stated that the new UFO video released by the Pentagon is a hoax. And he points it out from a pilot's perspective. Of course, no matter what you think of John Lear, he is an expert at one thing, and that's flying. So he says why it's just an absolute hoax. Also, images is a palette cleanser of nature. Look at this pretty cheeky looking great ape there. This is classic, these gorillas. They're such beautiful creatures, and just very kind and gentle. Can also be ruthless, but mostly kind and gentle creatures. Unlike chimpanzees, which are extremely dangerous and largely ruthless. Okay, all of them should be left alone. We should leave them in the wild. I don't think you should. Well, let's not go into talking about that right now, but a whole host of weird photographs there on nature and all kinds of things. But before we get into all of that, I just want to thank my patrons at patreon.com/theouterdark, also over at makersupport.com/theouterlight, and also everyone that sends me a little bit of Bitcoin, Steemit, Litecoin or Ether. It's just my address is up there if you do want to support that way. Just thank you for your support. You really help keep this operation going, that's for sure. So let's get right into it here. First bit here is Assange tweets mysterious encryption key at 3 a.m. Sparks rumors about his safety. New leaks. This is Zero Hedge. So at roughly 3 a.m. as Zero Hedge reports here, Julian Assange sent another cryptic tweet featuring a 60-character code along with a link to a music video, Paper Planes. Okay, so this is largely seen as a friend of WikiLeaks, an associate here, or at least they appear in tandem. They're talking sometimes, aka MIA, the singer, artist, musician, of course, as well, they're stating this as the person Paper Planes. This was tweeted alongside it. Show the tweet in a moment. So no one knows what the encryption key means, but it has sparked yet another wave of frenzied speculation by the Twitter sphere, according to Zero Hedge. So there is the cryptic tweet here, and you can see it in all its glory here. You see there's a picture of MIA Paper Planes. So it seems like this means something called this. It's hard to say, of course, what these things mean. I mean, WikiLeaks is up against spy agencies, so maybe this is just a public kind of message with an encryption key to something. Who knows? But there's some interesting lyrics in this song, which we'll go into. So lots of people speculating it's what it could mean. No one really means. Some people say it's some kind of drop from WikiLeaks coming up. Other people speculate to something else. There's all types of things that it could be. So let's have a look here at the song lyrics. So this is the song lyrics to the Paper Plane song. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make 'em all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. So, really interesting lyrics down here, of course. Pirate skull and bones, sticks and stones and weed and a bong, running when we hit him, lethal poison for the system. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me up on my burner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going to hell just pumping that gas. Seems like a song about WikiLeaks. I don't know. Something like that. I mean, I have no idea what it is. Getting flashbacks here of English class at university when you had to kind of figure something out. I actually got pretty good grades at things like that, but they were to do with, other things. Well, you can interpret it a lot of ways. The Pirate Party was released. People were talking about the Pirate Party in this tweet here from WikiLeaks, which was on the 30th of December. Talking about the Swedish Pirate Party over WikiLeaks. Elections 16 days before arrest warrant was issued. Go into that in a moment, but you have interesting things there about skull and bones and, well, obviously the skull and bones of the pirate flag and things like that. Who knows? I don't know what this means. Talking about planes, borders, visas, pirates, burner phones or burner's prepay phone, which is just it's just language really for a throwaway phone that you're not going to use again. So what does all this mean? Well, that was tweeted with the cryptic key itself, and you probably have to decide for yourselves because I have no idea what that means. But the other thing over WikiLeaks, this came out, WikiLeaks tweeting this on the 30th of December, talking about a cable, zero hedge really, encapsulating it here. Wiener laptop, and this was regarding the Wiener laptop documents as pursued by Judicial Watch there and released now, or some of them. Wiener laptop doc, Assange warrant issued 2 weeks after Swedish election leaks warning. So this just really just shows the conspiracy behind the scenes. Conspiracies are real, of course. You're looking at one of them right now, and this is regarding Hillary Clinton, who's a very vengeful individual. So here's the cable itself. This cable was sent in regards to a meeting with members of the Pirate Party in Sweden there. They discussed the September the 19th general elections and issued that might influence the Pirate Party's standings. Main points include, and this is underlined here, escalated media and Swedish government attention to WikiLeaks is the white horse of the Pirate Party to enter Parliament. So Post believes that there's a chance WikiLeaks may release classified US documents regarding Sweden prior to the September 19th general election. So this is more examples of these conspiracies behind the scenes. This was August the 4th. Okay, this cable was sent internally. This is the embassy, Stockholm. This is action. It says Washington D.C. So there's a United States State Department seal at the top there, and this is a summary report of what happened there in the meeting there in Sweden with the Pirate Party, who met at the embassy, I believe, from memory. So this happened the 4th of August, and then you have the 21st of August, you have warrant issued, and this is Zero Hedge putting this red in here, warrant issued August the 20th, reported following day, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange accused of rape. Okay, so these accusations were thrown out, but here's the point, August the 4th, 21st of August, so it's taken them about a week or something to engineer something. They could get straight into the media via their assets and try to take down Julian Assange that way. So, this is just another classic here. Of course, all these, things were, dropped against Julian Assange, and then they were picked up, and then they were dropped again, and then they were withdrawn because there was no evidence, and so on and so forth. There was never any evidence, but here you can see the architecture. There was worry here that WikiLeaks was going to drop something. So what did they do? They went around that, went through, and then Sweden coming out here, accused, they've engineered the scenario, now they're accusing him and taking him down within the public sector to try to get him arrested. But it really was about something else. It was about the potential leaks that WikiLeaks might put out. Isn't that outrageous? It's a classic scenario. So here's the summary here. 2 weeks after the cable was sent, an arrest warrant was issued for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange on sexual assault allegations, which was dropped, then reissued, then revoked against the Swedish authorities in August 2015 when they dropped their case against him. There was no evidence. It was made up. It's just a classic scenario there. Okay, so let's go over to Donald Trump here. Donald Trump, the United States has foolishly given Pakistan more than $33 billion in aid over the last 15 years, and they have given us nothing but lies and deceit. Thinking of our leaders as fools, they gave safe haven to the terrorists we hunt in Afghanistan with little help. No more. That's a pretty powerful kind of statement to a country, and it's true. I mean, look how many of these counter assets are run out of Pakistan and places like that. It's a safe haven to, all kinds of activities, not just these, what you would call terrorists or whatever, who knows what they're called. I mean, most of them are intelligence assets, right? Or funded that way. Remember the WikiLeaks cables and Hillary corruption Clinton's own words. Saudi Arabia and Qatar were funding and created ISIS, or funding ISIS. They created it. Okay? Why do you think there's no terrorist attacks in Saudi Arabia by ISIS? Or any places like that? That's very strange, isn't it? There's never any in Israel either. Well, it seems like ISIS has been crushed in Syria now. Absolutely obliterated and destroyed. Where are all the ISIS truck bombs that used to happen every week now? Where are they? Well, they don't seem to even be happening in Europe as much now. Although you can't control it in Europe now. It's impossible. I mean, they've literally taken hundreds of thousands, a million people from Syria. I'm not saying that every immigrant's a terrorist or anything like that at all. And of course, there's lots of immigrants, that are broken people. As an act of mercy and kindness, of course, most countries open their doors. But then there's other immigrants, that come out and use it as a way in order to bring in assets. There's no doubt about that. If that wasn't the case, you wouldn't screen people. You wouldn't ask them what their history was or what their name was. You just let them in the country. Well, you can't control that in Europe, but, without the funding mechanisms behind places like ISIS now, now those mechanisms have been crushed. Not completely, probably, but crushed in a lot of ways. Then you'll probably see less funding, less attempts at, conspiracy to turn individuals into Manchurian candidate robots to go take out these attacks. Look, I'm aware a lot of them are false flags. Some people say they don't even happen. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, the complementary asset network seems to be disintegrating now. It doesn't seem to be nowhere near as strong. I mean, when Obama was there, ISIS was just actively driving around in like a convoy of jeeps. Just ridiculous. They'd have a photo of them. It's like, how do we get around? They would say. How do they get around? Well, why are the weapons they're using all stamped and made in the United States? Made somewhere. It's because, as I reported on months ago, the CIA were funding ISIS as well. They were funding the rebels in Syria, i.e. ISIS. Okay? That's what the rebels were. You'd see pictures of them as ISIS fighters, and then you'd see them pictures as freedom fighters or rebels within Syria. I mean, it's all the same entity, isn't it? Anyway, Donald Trump put an end to that as well. Classic. Anyway, let's go to the next one here. And this is the Pope talking about, he's just saying we have to let go of the past. He's really going on here. And I just want to show you this very quickly. And of course, what's the date on this? This is from the AP. I say he's talking about 2018 anyway. It's not that old. So he talks about all these things that we have to let go of the past, and we have to concentrate, on certain things. Here, let me just get the exact quote. Hold on. So he said, the Catholic Church designates January 1st as World Peace Day. Well, classic. Okay, everyone just calls peace. The Pope said it now. Look, I don't mean to keep on, Look, again, everything's just tainted when it comes out of the Catholic Church for me, given, what I've researched. But, anyway, it says, and in his comments, it's not like I don't agree with world peace, okay? That'd be a great idea. Okay, yes, everyone have world peace. Excellent idea. But he's part of the network that's causing all of these problems. He's the part of the network. The Catholic Church smuggled the Nazis out of Europe. That's documented, okay? The Nazis, the SS officers, they smuggled them out. I mean, the Catholic Church is part of the network that's behind all these things. Okay, by conservative estimates, I keep on just drumming this home, but 6% of priests are pedophiles, accused of being as pedophiles, accused because they've actioned on their thoughts. 40% of the Order of St. John of God actually are pedophiles. This is Australian Royal Commission. This isn't just hearsay, okay? This just comes out of a study. So here's the Pope saying World Peace Day. And in his comments after Mass to the crowd in the square outside the Basilica, Francis noted that this year's focus of the day was the search for peace by migrants and refugees. So this is him talking about migrants and refugees, all well and good, so to speak, talking about that. But here is why he's a hypocrite, okay? This is why the Pope is a massive hypocrite. So here's the current legislation on citizenship in Vatican City. And this is the problem with all this. You see, the super elite, i.e. the people in Vatican City, all, part of the fraction of a percent. And I don't have anything against people that have a load of money. Just hypocrites here. Because he's always talking about immigrants and migrants and things like that. Meanwhile, Vatican City is the most closed off place in the world. There's 500 people that live there. Okay? So he could just open the doors, come live in the Vatican. Go all live in the Vatican. What would happen if they all went and tried to live in the Vatican? They wouldn't be allowed in the Vatican. The army would be called and people would start getting shot because you're not allowed to do that, right? That here's the Pope talking about that. Well, meanwhile, he sits in churches made of gold, the biggest banking network and all these kinds of things. That is a super hypocrite. That's what a hypocrite is. But all these people are massive hypocrites. But the veneer of all this virtue signaling is starting to wear away. And underneath the veneer, people are just seeing that, hey, that isn't gold, okay? They haven't got some kind of golden virtue. Underneath here is just pewter. And then when they rub a little bit close, this isn't even pewter, it's lead. There's nothing under here, okay? It's not real gold. Okay, they don't believe in any of this stuff. What do they do? What does the Pope ever do? He goes on about things like world peace and looking up. What do they do? How much money do they give away? Is he standing on some stone because he's given everything away? If he was doing that, then I'd be like, what can I say about that? Because this person's given everything away that they have and they're still speaking about it. But this is a person that lives in one of the most wealthy locations and the most powerful people in the world. I know, because when I went to Catholic church, years ago, when I was an altar boy, lucky nothing happened to me. It's a miracle, statistically these days, right? But I was an altar boy at one stage, went to Catholic school, and my mum, we weren't a very wealthy family, but my mum would always put as much money as she could afford in those collection plates. And it always made me think, that, we didn't have much money when I was growing up, still lived in a good family and had a good home and stuff. What can you say? I mean, you have a roof over your head, right? But my mum used to give lots of money in those collection plates to the Catholic Church. And, I always used to think at the time, why can they have all these things, and we don't have all these things, yet we're giving them our money, We weren't very wealthy, We were very, we had to make ends meet. So, it just always made me wonder, and that is the Catholic Church. They want all these good things for themselves. They don't want it for anybody else. If they did, they'd be giving things away. And you might say, well, they have lots of these churches around the world where apparently they're doing good. Those, when you look at it at distance, are just places that are there to collect money. That's all they're there for. If they don't collect money, they don't exist. Sure, not all... obviously not all Catholic people have something wrong with them. There's a lot of good Catholic people. I'm just saying this person that leads the church is a hypocrite. Always talking about immigration and these things. Meanwhile, you've got all this space. And you've got only 500 people that live there. Let's go to John Lear here talking about this famous UFO video that came out. This is the Pentagon's video. Now, I don't know if it's real or not, and I don't know, it depends on how credible you think John Lear is. I mean, John Lear goes on about, has been going in ufology for literally decades. He is a very famous pilot. I can't remember how many thousands of hours of flight time, but it's something bordering on a world record. Comes from the Lear jet, family. So he knows a lot about planes and flight. So there's one thing he's an expert on, and is that. Of course, so he could tell what the video was. I mean, I can't, I'm not a pilot, but then, I don't know, you just have to judge his opinion as his opinion. But in my opinion, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know why they're doing it, if it is a hoax. Is it a hoax? I mean, I don't know. But anyway, this is another perspective, so I thought I'd bring it to you because instead of the mainstream media just saying it's always all legit, let's look at another perspective. So let's look at it here. It shows the video at the beginning, and then I'll pause it when John Lear gets on.
What's going on, bro? There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. The whole thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's a thing, it's rotating.
So this is John Lear via a phone call here with this, who was interviewed. This is posted on White House UFO. Guess a lot of people disagree with it there, but nonetheless, this person, John Lear, is an expert, so let's listen to what he had to say about it.
Not too bad. We got a second just to talk about this film that you were talking about the other day?
Sure.
You stated there's a problem with the film. Can you just briefly describe what you think the problem is?
The first thing I noticed is there's background noise. There shouldn't be there inside of the cockpit.
So just pausing it here while John Lear talks because it's a bit hard to understand him there. He's saying that this video has background noise in it that shouldn't be there. Let's keep on going.
It's extremely against the pilot's face so that there is no extraneous ambient sound. And somebody put in a sound like as if wind was rushing against the airplane. They didn't know that it's super quiet. And the reason it's quiet because no ambient air can get to the microphone.
So there's John Lear just talking there. I just want to blow this up so you can read the text. Okay, so you should be able to read the text there on screen. Let's play it. And this is the text itself.
The microphone is inside the oxygen mask, which is sealed against the pilot's face. And then, let's see, I don't have my notes here, but...
There's something about the way they talked.
Pardon?
Something about the way they talked.
They use language that pilots wouldn't use, like bro and dude. That's not pilot's language. And they said, hold on a second. The one pilot said the wind is 120 knots to the west. And first of all, pilots never use, don't say the wind's like, first of all, they wouldn't have any reason to say the wind. It has nothing to do with what they're supposedly tracking an object. There's no reason one pilot would have to say what the wind was. But anyway, if they did say that, it wouldn't say knots. They would say wind is 120 at, and then they would give the degrees.
So John Lee is saying that they wouldn't even talk about the wind. There would be no real reason for them to do that. And that if they were going to do it, they would say like at such and such degrees, whatever. They wouldn't go talk the way they are. But let's keep on going.
Around magnetic compass.
Okay.
In degrees, they would say wind 120 from 120. Wind is.
See, that's what I would be expecting is them say, those kind of, wind at 120 at 120 or something like that, or at 120, to use that kind of language as a part. Wind is coming from the west at 120 miles. I don't know. It just seems weird. Maybe they do talk like that. Maybe this is actually how you talk, as pilots, combat pilots in F-18s. I don't know. They just, just sounds weird. Let's keep on going with John Lear's analysis here.
Never stated as it's going somewhere. It's always from somewhere. It doesn't matter whether it's being printed or talked about. The one is always from somewhere, not to somewhere. Then.
So he's saying it's from X and X degrees, 0, 1, whatever, and then name all the. Because that's about information, right? That you're really telling accurate information while you're talking. And accuracy is important because these tapes are played back. Let's keep on going.
Let's see, what else was there? There's, let's see, now the HUD's, the heads-up display is showing different information that shows the speed at 238 knots. It varies.
So that's up the top there. I think that's, up the top there is 238 knots. But you can watch these videos back when you play it.
But if the airspeed was 230 knots, why is the heads-up display not showing, getting any closer to the tic-tac or whatever they want to see it? Now, if they had seen something, they would want to go and try and catch it. These airplanes, the F-18, can go close to Mach 2, so why are going at 238 knots. But even if they were just going at 230 knots, they should be closing in on the object, and the object is staying stationary in the display. Now,
So John Lee is saying that the object, you know, these by all the numbers here is staying stationary in the display, and that the speed they're going, they're not catching up with the object. He says that, basically saying the data of the display that's being read here doesn't match what's being visually seen.
the display shows two vertical lines, and if you're tracking something, you keep the object in between those two vertical lines using the controls that you have, and it doesn't appear like it's getting any closer. And let's see, I think those are the main points.
So yeah, John Lear just going on about that there, about what his opinion on this. Let's look at the video again, but before we do that, let's just go have a look at John Lear's biography. So here's John Lear's biography here. This is from Coast to Coast. He's been a regular guest on Coast to Coast quite a bit. I guess like 30 shows or something. John Lear is a retired airline captain and former CIA pilot, as well as the son of the famous inventor of the Lear jet. He is the former Lockheed L-1011 captain and is highly regarded in aviation circles. He has flown over 150 aircraft and has earned every certificate granted by the Federal Aviation Administration. Every one. And he's flown 150 aircraft. John also held 18 world records and has worked for 28 different aircraft corporations. During the late 1980s and early 90s, John began coming forward with some startling revelations concerning the subject of aerial phenomenon and unidentified flying objects. Now, if you've been following ufology for all these years, then obviously you're aware, know John Lear's name, and he's he's not someone that is not like a believer in all these things. He totally believes in UFOs, aliens, and reptilians, and all these kinds of things, okay? And as I said, I'm about an 80% believer. I don't know 100% if all these UFOs are real. What I'm saying is you're talking to one of the most famous people in the world of ufology here. There is no one that would want to believe as much as John Lear would. And I don't think he's like a double agent or anything like this. You've got to remember, this is the person that came out with Bob Lazar back in the days. And he's well known as being who he says he is. He comes from a famous family. His dad invented the Lear jet. I thought he was just part of that family. I didn't know it was actually his dad that invented the Lear jet, which is a famous jet. Okay, and he's flown, he's got world records. So no matter what you think of his opinions on, some of them are outlandish on UFOs and stuff like that, and he says it's speculation, but no matter what you think of that, there's one thing he is an expert on, and that is aircraft. Okay, and at the highest level. So he doesn't believe this is real. Now, he says the language is all wrong. He says the data on the screen doesn't match what the aircraft is doing. He states that the way that they talk is wrong. That when they talk about the wind, they're not saying it correctly. And remember where this video comes out of, the Pentagon. Why are they doing it? Let's take a look at, and you might say, why would they fake a video like this if they had real videos and all these kinds of things? Well, maybe because the real videos are all really, if it's real, maybe the real videos they didn't want to release, and maybe they're classified. And how do you release stuff if you want to obtain some kind of objective? Well, you could make it up. You don't have to worry about any kind of classified or security clearances. Let's go on. Let's have a look at the video again now.
Dude, this is fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. The whole thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's another thing.
Now, you know, pilots, and playing devil's advocate here, pilots might talk like that. Who knows? Maybe John Lear is from a different generation. So he, you know, maybe pilots today just do talk like that. That's another perspective on it. I just wanted to provide two perspectives there. I mean, looking at the video, I have no idea. I'm not an expert on any of these, you know, aircraft or. So I thought another perspective perhaps would, you know, enable people looking at this to make, you know, have some more information about making decisions as to what it is. So, you know, don't shoot the messenger. I have no I have no idea if it's real or not. I don't know. Is that the way pilots talk today? That they say dude and bro, and, you know, is that the way they talk? And they say, like, you know, they don't, like, you know, talk in hard language and really descriptive numbers and just keep it really formal? Do they just talk like that? Maybe seeing an object like that, they freaked out a bit and, you know, fell back on their college days. I don't know. They fell back on their times in their dormitory or something. Nonetheless, that is what it is. Probably went on about that for a bit too long. Okay, so let's get back into it with 36 minutes, so we'll just speed this along. Here's another one, a classic. This is from the UK this time. Told you it would happen. Seems the internal memos are stacking up now. Britain might not leave the EU. David Davis privately admits. Beatrix secretary secretly says decision could be reversed. Undermining PM's New Year message promising to get on and deliver. So, it seems like it's all just a play, you know, like on a stage. They're pretending that they're going to leave. They're never really going to leave. It's not going to happen. This is like the globalists' holy grail. You know, the globalists want, excuse me, the globalists want everything to be together. They want mega corporations. They want monopolies. They want, you know, a breakdown in sovereignty and just a kind of an amalgamation of just one superstructure that they can control. This is the most important thing to them is the EU. They want that spread across the world. Well, it looks like it's not going to happen now. So I don't think it'll happen. Either that or they'll step it into infinity. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Now, who wants Germany deciding Britain's laws? Why does Germany get to decide Britain's laws? And you know, that's why the EU doesn't make any sense. You know, who wants Germany deciding the rules of people in Britain, Scotland, UK, or Spain, or wherever? Why do they get to decide their rules? That's what it is. Let's keep on going here. So Bitcoin tensions rise as investors claim banks freezing their accounts. Bitcoin investors are claiming Australian banks are freezing their accounts and transfers to cryptocurrency exchanges, with a viral tweet slamming the Big Four and an exchange platform putting a restriction on Australian deposits. And this is precisely, I'm not saying Bitcoin or whatever crypto, and it's likely that the next or third or fourth generation will be the most, be the one that becomes the cryptocurrency that everyone will take on. Just like, generations of browsers, right? In the beginning you had what was it called? Netscape and all these kinds of things. But then sooner or later you get your browsers that everyone starts to use, unfortunately, which now are Google, There are other browsers like Brave and stuff like that, which is a great browser. Or whatever browser you use. The point is now you have like Australian banks looking like they're freezing people's ability to transfer their money. And that's why you need to get away from banks. Because why should banks decide to you what to do with your money? Why are they deciding what you should do with your money? They tell you you're not allowed to spend it at crypto exchanges. It's precisely why that they are a redundant dinosaur. And I have nothing against cash, like actual cash or gold coins or precious metals or whatever. Those are, they can't be traced as well. I mean, if you want to take that money and you want to spend it on something and, no one knows about it, that's your freedom to do with your own money, right? Maybe you want to go buy, I don't know, maybe you want to buy something. Not saying it's necessarily illegal. I'm just saying, like, maybe you want to buy something. I don't know. Maybe you want to buy some lingerie for your wife or your girlfriend or something. Or, you can reverse the scenario. Something for your boyfriend or husband or whatever. And you don't want to turn it up, like in some kind of like, you don't want someone else to know all through your credit card history what you're spending your money on. Whatever. I suppose that's a bad example because no one would care. I bought some lingerie for you. No one cares. But maybe you bought a house by the lake, okay, and you don't want anyone to know you bought the house you could just pay it with cash, or maybe you bought a boat or whatever. Guess you could say, all kinds of things. But the point is that cash is anonymous. No one can tell if you're spending $100 on something, and you might think, well, what's the big deal? Why shouldn't you have all your transactions tracked or those kinds of things? My point is it's none of their business. It doesn't matter what you spend your money on. It's not their business. They don't have a right to all of your information. Okay? You should have the right to freedom to spend your money anonymously if you feel like it, even if that's going to buy a chocolate bar. Okay? It should be your right to do that, to spend your money on what you want. The king and the queen should not be able to know everything you're doing all the time. So that's why I like cash. I mean, cash is good. I just don't have a lot of it on me at the moment. I have all those. I have it must be I guess Bitcoin crashed. I don't know how much it is now, but maybe it's $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. But there's likely I'm never going to take it out. Okay, just leave it there because, how do I take it out in New Zealand? You can't. There's no Bitcoin ATMs that I'm aware of. You'd have to sign up with your identity and everything to some kind of exchange to have it transferred into your bank account. And I don't want to do that anyway. I'm going to leave it there. Leave it there for a while. Long time. Maybe I'll never take it out. No, one day I will. One day I'll take it out, but it won't be for a while. The point is that you should have a right to spend your money on what you like. Why is the banks telling you what to do? That's precisely the problem with this world, is the banks telling everyone what to do. Look, the banks themselves, they're the people behind inflation. Why? Because when they get $1,000, I can't remember the lending on it, but they're allowed to lend 6% and that as well. I think it's 6%. So it's like, what's $1,000 and 6%? $60, okay? So they're allowed to lend, $1,060. So if you put $1,000 in there, they're allowed to lend now based on that amount of debt. They're allowed to lend $1,060. I can't remember the exact percentage. Where did the $60 come from? Well, it's out of nothing. It doesn't exist. They're lending more than they're taking in. And that's where inflation comes from for the most part. That's why a can of Coke used to cost like $1 and now it's like $3 or whatever it is now. That's because of that stuff. And it is what it is. Anyway, was the big news from Bitcoin. Really outlandish, really, that banks actually doing that. I mean, I have no idea what happened. But if they are doing that, I mean, it's outlandish, really, isn't it? So here is an interesting article from the Daily Mail. Dark underbelly of British Empire. How Britain secretly controlled the opium trade in the Far East after banning it in bid to squash gangs that smuggle drugs abroad. HMS Belfast. So what was their solution to the problem? Well, this is back in the days here. Back in the late 19th century, I'd say. It says it ended in 1907. So, like the late 1800s. But here is just a classic scenario. So the British Empire, dark underbelly of British Empire, how Britain secretly controlled the opium trade in the Far East. So what do you reckon's happening with the Anglo-Saxon American Union in regards to the opium trade in the Middle East now, coming out of Afghanistan and Iraq? Coming in through a Colombia and then the Mexican cartels. You can cite the CIA's influence in every one of those sectors, right from the Middle East, right through South America, the Americas, right in there through with the Mexican drug cartels. Remember, the CIA's association with those cartels was pretty much made public in numerous articles. CIA's influence in the Middle East, CIA's influence in everywhere. Okay, so they're controlling the opium trade, in my opinion, to generate black money for black projects. Or whatever they're doing. Who knows what they're doing? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're building some kind of like Voltron machine underground or whatever. Why do they need so much money all the time? It's like we need more and more money for all these projects. Just another example there. And that's why when something's illegal, it creates a criminal underworld of super mafias. It's just getting to the point where you just have to say, make it all legal and just deal with the consequences, because the fact of making it illegal has given rise to the biggest Al Capones on the planet and all these gangs and enforcers and corruption mechanisms that corrupt government. So, it is, but there's an example from the past anyway. So here's a strange aircraft taken. There's a rather fascinating craft sitting at Pratt and Whitney facility on Google Earth. So this is a serious, obviously the airplane engine company and things like that. But look at that strange craft. You've got 200 comments here on Reddit conspiracy. Some saying, humorously that it's probably swamp gas. So there is the craft itself. What is that? Isn't that a weird looking craft? It's got kind of like a diamond at the top of it. Assumption would be that perhaps, given the same size, I don't know what that diamond shaped object is on the top of it, but when you say, is it a window or something? But the window is probably in the front, isn't it? So, extremely strange looking craft. It looks like it's hooked into something here. Now, with this device here, whatever this is, this large machine, which is about the size of a car, but it seems to be backed up with the same place as these pipes going up the top there, or some kind of mechanism. Seems like it's plugged into that somehow. It's like, looks like it's got an engine on the back, but look at that wing structure. Have you seen anything like that before? That's on Google Earth. So it's kind of weird. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. It doesn't even, how does something like that even fly? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Looks like a stealth fighter, but then, that's like those strange ones that was found when it fell in the Middle East. You've seen it. There was a number of photos of it. It was a CIA drone or some kind. Autonomous vehicle, but the wing structure was wider in comparison to the object itself, so not sure what's happening there. Okay, so here we are at the photos, the palette cleanser. I realize it's probably a pretty boring video today, okay? I got hardly any sleep because I had so much stuff to do yesterday on my day off. Had some visitors and stuff, so it took, you had a lot of other stuff to do as well. Plus it was New Year's. The grinning gorilla, singing lions and clubs and humpback whales, synchronized swimmers, striking images from around the world in 2017. So just some fun images here for the palette cleanser. There you can see the grinning gorilla Richard. Look at old Richard. It looks pretty happy. I don't know, because apparently smiling and laughing is a sign of aggression in chimpanzees. Well, that's not a chimpanzee, it's a a great ape, or gorilla, so to speak. These people taking a photo there right up the top of this here. How did they get to the top? I don't know how they got to the top. I guess they climbed all the way up there. That's some climb though. Like some kind of weird rock in the middle of nowhere. How does that come about? I don't know how something like that's made. I don't know how that's made. How is something like that ever made in nature? I don't know, because you think, what is the river? You can see it in a river, right? If it was like the tide was washing around it, it would kind of wear down the rock. But then how does it get made in the middle of the sea like that? Well, it's not. Over here, there'd be larger rocks and stuff, of course. But how does it wear down on such that scale? There's some baby lions here, or cubs here, lion cubs, yawning. Okay, that makes me yawn, actually. That's the contagion of yawning, as they speak about. They're saying that it's synchronized, in a cave, so human beings synchronize their yawning and sleep patterns together as a group. So one human makes another human yawn. Of course, these mechanisms of secret communication and influence, and same thing you see in yawning, contagious yawning, are actually by other people have been secret ways that happen, have been mechanisms into influencing people to do other things and crazy things, but let's not get into that. Two humpback whales leap out of the water in a perfect mirror of each other. Yeah. Could also be Photoshop. I know you realize I'm cynical. Sorry, I don't know what happened when I looked at those lion cubs yawning. I kind of started to feel tired myself. I am pretty tired, actually. Baby gorilla? Is that a baby gorilla over there? I'm not sure. It's not a baby, obviously. It's a little bit older. That's a sad picture there. But that's the animal world. It's vicious, It's a vicious world. Yeah. An owl flying. Look at its little feet. Its little feet look like rabbit's feet. They're like furry they look kind of furry. Of course, when it opens its feet, it'll have some talons there. Owls have pretty big talons. It's a weird way to fly, though. How does something like that even sit in the air? Of course, it's caught between wing flaps there. That's why it looks so unusual. Nah, it's a big crocodile. Okay, where's this? Australia? No, it's probably not Australia. I don't know where this is. Oh, it's in Australia. Oh, there you go. That's what happens if you go swimming in the Australian River. Look at the size of that thing. Okay, look at it. I mean, that could just eat a whole person. They do all the time. Crocodiles eat people all the time. They're dangerous. That's Australia for you. That's why in Australia, everyone, if you're going out in these places, you've got to have a firearm on you. Not just for hunting or something, but to protect yourself against things like that. Okay? You've got to protect yourself against things like that. Dingoes, snakes. Probably just have to have a 6-shooter on you to protect yourself against all the snakes around there. I mean, even just walking through here, you could kind of get bitten and fall over by some kind of poisonous snake. Of course, in the city, Australia doesn't have any of those problems. But out there in the bush and stuff like that, yeah, it can probably be pretty dangerous, maybe. I don't know. My great grandmother was from Australia. There's a fighter plane in a rainbow. This is peace. That's war. Okay, so it shows you the combination there. Missed it. Two obvious tourists in a kayak misses a spectacular whale submerging behind them in California. Yeah. What is that? Pictures have been taken by a host of photographers. Above, Sam Everett is seen skidding on an ice wall. Oh, yeah, it looks... So what this probably looks like is like he's coming down here. Like, this could be seen as a top-down image with the hole there, or it could be on a side-on image. It's obviously it's a side-on, because if it was top-down, it would be... If you slipped into that, you'd die. You know? So, but, yeah, that's blue ice, that's for sure. Yeah. It looks like a marble, not marble, but some kind of like, you know, it just looks weird, that's all. You've got here a flock of flamingos. No, what are those things? Pelicans, sorry. Pelicans. Going crazy over like a fish, one fish. They like that, those seabirds are just like, I mean, it's like if you've ever gone down to the beach and you're throwing a few pieces of bread there and seeing the seagulls come down. They're just insane. They just all come down and they're just like fighting and, you know, against each other. Not really fighting, but they're kind of like really going after that food like they've never seen it before. He's just really trying to get that fish, like all of them at the same time. Look at them. Here we have, what is this? Don't know what that is. A flamingo. Excuse me, I'm getting tired now. But the flamingo itself is like... Maybe that's why when I seen these pictures earlier, that's why maybe when I seen that I thought it was a flamingo. Look at their legs. Of course, that's so they can just sit in deep water and like eat stuff, like eat little bugs or whatever they do. So what's this thing? So you have a fire blower here, and then you have a person jumping out. During a stunt, the vibrant gallery also shows thrill seekers pushing themselves to limits with breathtaking stunts. Oh my god. To go to sleep or something. Stunts captured in perfect clarity. I'm not sure what breathing fire while doing that actually does. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even get why people do that. I guess it's a thrill. You know? Guess they like, you know, playing around with the idea that they could die. Well, they don't have to play around with that. Everyone's going to die. You just have to wait. You just have to wait, and it's coming sooner or later. You know, so whatever. Anyway, you know, happy new year 2018. Thank you so much to everyone that watches my video. I've got a number of them now. I think I got like 720 or something. I can't remember the exact number, but it must be getting out there. Some good news, I think, and I'm not sure because I cannot tell. It's impossible for me to tell, but when I went on about my Vatican reptilian video that got the community guidelines strike, it seems it's still up there, and when I went to the Outer Dark to have a look at my community guidelines to see if YouTube replied to me because I appealed it, it seems that the community guideline strike has been removed. But what I'm saying is I don't know what's going on. Why? Because I never got any message from Google. I got no message from YouTube saying it been removed or anything. It's just not there anymore. So the case just gets more mysterious and mysterious. Of course, I'm still going to mirror all my videos after that, definitely on DTube. Put out probably one every second day there. Just my best ones. I mean, there's a lot of videos I did that are just not worth anything, you know. They're just kind of like rambling, nonetheless. Anyway, here we are at the end of another video. One of my supporter videos tomorrow on a subject. Keep an eye out for that one. But in the meantime, of course, go and do your own research and decide for yourselves. You know, it can be all over the place here, so you have to go out a little bit further and decide, you know, what you want to believe. It was a super long video today. I apologize for that. You know, I'm just very slow today, and everything took a long time. So, I have to be faster. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with my Vatican reptilian video. It's still up there now. They haven't deleted it. and my community guideline strike has been removed. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe when I go back it'll be there. I'm not sure. But I'll keep you updated on that if I find out, if they ever tell me what happened. In the meantime, though, go and do your own research, decide for yourselves. Thank you to everyone that supports my channel. And of course, this is Ed from the Outer Light channel and the DailyRabbitHole.com. Happy New Year, and have a great New Year. And I hope this year brings you and your family the best in fortune and health. And hopefully it's a more easy year than 2017, a bit more quieter, hopefully. I don't like those odds, so I think it's going to be a crazy, crazy 2018. There's so many things happening. In the meantime, this is Ed from the Outer Light. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and the DailyRabbitHole.com, of course. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, enjoy the day, the eve, or wherever you are. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you later.